Hello. Today we're going to talk about my programming back in November of 2023. 2 years ago from today, we'll be able to compare to how I started out going down the functional fitness journey compared to where I am now. This is kind of a good place in the middle, and it might be a way to check on our progress and kind of see where things were. For reference, I started my functional fitness journey at the beginning of 2022, starting out with kettlebells. In the spring to summer, I added clubs. And then in the early part of 2023, I added Mace. So by November of 2023, I was pretty well into using all three modalities there. My name is Chris Butterworth. This is the Healthy Butter Fitness channel. It's a place where we talk about being in our 40s, 50s, and 60s and fighting off the effects of Father Time. Father Time is undefeated. Father Time messes with us, and it's up to us to really take care of our bodies and to stay as fit and as mobile, flexible, functional as we can. Functional fitness is the tool that we use to do that. I'm 56 years old and I feel great. When I was 50, I had shoulder issues, elbow issues, chronic back pain, and I've worked my way through that using functional fitness. I'm trying to share with you what I've learned along the way. I'm trying to build a channel that didn't exist when I started out, a way to make sense of all the stuff that's out there and kind of put it into what's more useful to people that maybe aren't in their 20s and 30s trying to hit max strength, and people that are trying to figure out how to do all these different modalities and make them work together. So with that, let's get started. One of the things I talk about a lot regarding functional fitness is keeping a fitness journal, keeping a workout journal. I like to log what I did, the exercises, the weight, the time, the reps, all that kind of stuff. And I also like to write a note about how I felt. Maybe a reminder to myself next time that I want to focus on something, or it's time to move up in weight, or don't move up yet, that workout was hard, whatever it is. Well, because I keep that, I have all my information from November of 2023. I made some notes here, and I'm going to walk through this. When you're starting out, when I started out, I was doing very basic exercises, EMOM style, 6 sets of 6, 7 sets of 6, 8 sets of 6, basic club exercises, basic kettlebell exercises. Today, I'm a little bit more advanced and I combine some of the movements and I make a lot of my own workouts. But in between, at this time, November 2023, I was kind of transitioning between the two. And so it's going to be interesting to look at this. In November of 2023, I did 28 workouts, which is kind of on par with what I try to do. I try to stay between 25 to 30. I work out almost every day, but I usually don't work out every day. By not hitting maximum intensity, by not going for 1 rep max, by not putting every single thing you have into every workout, you don't get dinged up and you're not too sore to work out the next day. So I try to go 80% intensity. I try to push myself hard, but not all the way. And that enables me to get a really good workout in and then do it again tomorrow. 2 years ago in November, I did 6 club workouts. I did 7 Mace workouts, 7 kettlebell workouts, and then I played tennis 5 times, 90 minutes to 120 minutes, up to 2 hours, and I rucked 3 times. Hiking the local mountains, I went between 1 hour to an hour 20 minutes on different hikes, and I carried between 10 to 15 pounds in a backpack when I went. So that worked out to 28 workouts. Looking at the details, so let's talk for a minute about club, because this is where the biggest change was going on. I spent my first year on club, first over a year, probably 15 months of club, doing the basic exercises, inside circles, inside pendulums, outside pendulums, shield cast, pullovers, over and over and over again. I worked my way from, I started out with single arm clubs at 7.5 pounds because it's all that my left hand could control. And I worked my way up through 10 pounds, 12.5 pounds, and I was doing some 15-pound clubs at about in the in the mid to late summer of 2023, not too long before this, I just kind of got bored of doing circles. And I tried to put together a program where I would do some circles and then some pendulums and then some pullovers and then some mills. And I just kind of started stacking things together and doing some combined works. So what I ended up doing is I went through, I built kind of rounds, like a set. I built sets into it, and each set would take about a minute. And I would do like a set of circles and then a set of pendulums, whatever it was. Each set would take about a minute, and I would do 18 sets. So these workouts were approximately 18 minutes. What I found was that I could not do 15 pounds at this extended workout with mixing all these things together. I had to drop the weight to 12 and a half, and then I dropped the weight back to 10, all the way down to 10, and I started this program over. In November, my first workout in November, I did 10 pounds for 4 minutes, and then I did 12 and a half pounds, and I did rounds of 6, 6, and 2. And so that was my 18 minutes. What I was trying to do was, I started out with all 10s, with 10 pounds for 18 minutes, and I would break it up into as many as I could do at a time. And then I would add a couple minutes of 12 and a half and reduce a couple minutes of 10. So I kind of worked my way from 10 pounds through a mixture of 10 and 12 and a half pounds up to doing a full set with 12 and a half. So my first workout did a little bit of 10, and I was doing mostly 12 and a half. My last workout of the month, I was doing 12 and a half pounds, and I did sets of 8, and then a set of 8, and then a set of 2. So I was able to do it in 3 sets. I was working my way towards being able to do 18 minutes all at one time. I did 6 of those workouts. Comparing that to when I started out, basics, circles, shield casts, pendulums, swipes. It is much harder when you start stacking them together. You're taking fewer breaks and you're trying to do everything without putting the club down. Compare it to today. Today, my workout is even a little bit more intense. I'm doing more weight, and somewhere along the line, I upped it to 24 minutes instead of 18 minutes, or 24 rounds, and my rounds now take me slightly longer than a minute. So it takes me about 26, 27 minutes if I were to do my entire workout today without putting it down. So when I look at where I was a year ago, I was kind of in that intermediate phase. I was done with doing the individual sets and walking through. I had done 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15. I was on my 4th weight through the cycle, and I was starting to build some stuff together. So this was a pretty neat transition point of trying to make my program harder. As far as Mace goes, I had started Mace again earlier in 2023, so I was probably 6 to 8 months into Mace. Mace, I'll say this a lot, Mace is, it's confusing. Like, there's just so many things that go on with Mace, and yes, there's 360s, which are pretty basic, but as soon as you start adding transitions into it, and 360 to whatever it is, an uppercut, to a gravedigger, to a spear lunge, or an archer, like, there's just all these different movements that you can do, let alone if you see online people flowing and just throwing the mace all over the place. It takes a lot of time to really get comfortable enough with Mace that you can do it in a fashion that's in control, and that the Mace weighs heavy enough that you're getting a full workout. It takes practice. And so I think at this point in time, I was doing similarly to the club. I was trying to do 18 minutes in a workout. And let's see, my first Mace workout at the beginning was a set of 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes. And at the end of November, I had worked my way up. Each time I tried to make one side a little bit longer and then take reps off the back end. So my sets got a little bit longer each time through. By the end of November, I did a set of 12 and then a set of 6. And As far as the movements, similar to what I'm doing today with my Mace kata, but more basic. Probably fewer movements, probably a little bit more structure to moving from one thing to the other. Today, I can flow through the movements a little bit more smoothly than I could then. I was probably doing a movement, stop, do another move. I was probably a little bit herky-jerky as I went through it, trying to flow, but not good enough to flow. So I did 6 workouts like that, and I was using a 10.75 pound mace. For my club and for my mace, I was using the ADX adjustable kits, and my mace I had set at 10.75 pounds. Today I'm doing again 24 minutes straight through without a rest when I do my kata with a 13 and a quarter pound mace. So I've gone up a little bit in time and in volume and in weight. And then I also do some work with a 15.5 pound mace, and I do some work with a 20 pound mace. So when I look at where I was, kind of getting my feet under me to where I am now, just 2 years down the road, it's a pretty significant change in what I'm comfortable with. Back then, looking at this November 2023, I'm not sure that I could have gone much heavier with the mace. And today I feel like there is some room in the tank. Like if I had to do a heavier mace, I could. I did 6 of those kata type workouts. I did one practice session where I took the mace out in the backyard in case I dropped it. And for 15 minutes, I just explored doing different movements. What happens if the mace goes this way? Could I come around with the head, or does it have to go back down? And I just played with it for 15 minutes. Pick the mace up, goof around with it, explore the movement and the momentum and what happens with mace, and don't put it down. I still do that once in a while. It's interesting that this month, I don't do it every month. I wish I did it more, but I kind of get into a groove of what my workouts are. But playing with the mace is kind of how you get comfortable with trying new things. And then all of a sudden you'll find something and it just clicks and you're like, oh, I want to add that. I'm going to add that to my workout. So that's kind of a cool thing to do. And this is a reminder. Maybe I want to do that more often. Maybe I want to mix in a practice session once a month. Just go out there and throw the mace around. Kettlebell, I had 3 different types of kettlebell workouts going. I had my 25 pound medley, which is different. I called it a medley, but it's different than the medley that I'm doing now. I am working really hard towards trying to get to 24 minutes straight without putting the kettlebell down. I have not gotten there yet, but I'm getting closer. Back then, I was doing much shorter sets. I was doing like 2 cleans, 2 presses, and 2 snatches, or something like that. It was a very small set. And I did them with a 30-second rest, a fixed rate rest. I did 11 sets, and I think, and looking at this, I did 11 sets of it, and then I repeated it, and then I repeated it again with a note to myself that next time I should increase it. So I did, I must have gone up from 10 to 11 and thought it was difficult, and I did that one a couple of times in a row until it started to get a little more comfortable. Then I was going to increase it to 12 sets next time. I was using a 35 pound kettlebell, and I was doing clean and press with that, but I must have just recently moved up from a 30 to a 35 pound bell because I was doing a reverse ladder of 3, 2, 1. I hadn't gotten to 4, 3, 2, 1, nor 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I did 4 sets of 3, 2, 1 with a 45-second rest in between each set. And then the next time I did it later in the month, I did 5 sets of 3, 2, 1 with a 45-second rest in between. And then the other thing that I was doing, I had moved up to doing cleans, just sets of cleans with a 40-pound kettlebell. I did not do a ton of work with the 40-pound bell, but this month there was a series in there. There was probably a few months in a row where I was kind of working and I was trying to put in a little bit more power. And so I had worked my way up to that 40-pound bell. I did 7 sets of 8 with a 45-second rest, and it looks like I repeated that. I did that same workout twice. So what does all this mean? There's a couple things here. First of all, if you're looking at my channel, you're probably doing functional fitness, and sometimes there's questions about how to do it or how many workouts to do or what exercises should I do. And so I like to share like the actual work that I've done. So again, I was getting close to 2 years completed with my kettlebell work. I was about a year and a half in with my club work, and I was probably 6 to 8 months in maybe with my Mace work. So at various points there of where I was in the process, and on all three cases, the club, I was doing a combination workout. The Mace, I was doing my kata, which is basically a combination workout, 360 to a movement, 360 the other direction to a movement, 360 the other way to a movement. It was just kind of a series of movements over and over again. And in my kettlebell, I had started working on that on a simple, light, short medley. But the concept of doing cleans and clean and press and snatch all in the same workout, instead of having a clean day and a clean and press day and a snatch day, I think I was starting to make that transition. So for whatever that's worth. And then as far as well-rounding, like rounding out the program, if you go out and play 2 hours of tennis, an hour and a half of tennis, I play singles. If it's a match, if I'm practicing, it's just me and somebody else and we never stop moving, pushing at myself as hard as I can for that period of time. That's hard. That's actually, that's harder sometimes than the kettlebell work because I'm so sore the next day in my legs. And then rucking, a lot of times people ruck heavier weights, but I'm not sure. I think that going up a mountain counts. So if I rucked for an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, I had 12 pounds, 14 pounds on my back, and went uphill with that. So for whatever that's worth. Again, the goal here is to help you try to build your program out. So maybe there's something in here that makes sense to you. Maybe you're kind of getting bored with just doing reps and sets over and over again, volume cycles and density cycles. That's how you get better. It's great for practice. You got to learn the basics. You can't build on anything without a good foundation. You do it with a weight, you do it with another weight, you start to feel comfortable with it. But there's no rule that says you have to do those for 5 years, or that you have to do 5, 7, 9 different weights in the same program. In our 50s, in our 60s, we want to feel good. If your body feels good, you're doing it right. Now, if you want to expand on top of that, I think I was getting to the point where I had been running a snatch program, and I was pushing myself to my limits, and I started to not enjoy snatch as much. It was too hard of a workout. And I had a big blister rip open on my hand one time. So make your workouts fun, build something that works for you. If it makes your body feel good, you're doing it right. If it's fun to do, you're doing it right. If you look forward to your workouts and you can do them every day, you're doing it right. Those are the kind of things that we're trying to do. If your workout is beating you up, it's time to readjust. If your workout is really boring and you hate doing it, it's time to readjust. If your workout is, for whatever reason, either it's not fun or it's too hard, then you procrastinate doing it and you don't want to do your workout, and then you start skipping days, we need to readjust something. So those are the kind of pieces that we look at as far as putting together a program that works for you. I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles now, so I'm going to stop talking. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me here. I hope this was useful to you as you build your program, and I hope that your program makes you feel as good as mine has. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Go get better.